In other news, heads of state are meeting in Paris at a special climate summit where they hope to discuss ways to accelerate efforts to combat global warming. This meeting convened by the French President Emmanuel Macron. Here's a bit of background now with Nick Clark.
It is 2 years to the day that nearly 200 nations signed the Paris Agreement in a bid to limit global warming to below 2 degrees Celsius. Now, at the One Planet Summit in Paris, the French President Emmanuel Macron, the World Bank Chief Jim Yong Kim and the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres want to mobilize the finance to make it happen. This in defiance of President Donald Trump's promise to pull out of the accord. Macron believes that Europe can now lead the way. Indeed, the French president took a dig at Trump by telling him to make our planet great again. Well, at the moment, developed nations are not on track to pay a promised $100 billion a year by 2020 to help developing countries, among other things, switch from fossil fuels to greener energy. And because of the US pullout, there's now a $2 billion hole in the Green Climate Fund, which also helps developing nations deal with climate change. And in a year of wildfires and extreme storms, the One Planet Summit will want to try and balance those books and so instill commitment and trust in the Paris Agreement from all the nations of the world except the United States.
In Paris at that summit is Natasha Butler covering things for us. It's all about the money, Natasha.
It is all about the money. Finance is really the big key word here, and that is because you had those 200 leaders right here in Paris in 2015 who signed up to the Paris Accord, who promised that they would try and limit global warming to under 2 degrees Celsius. But the thing is, 2 years on, everyone has realized that that's not going to happen unless you have a lot of investment, a lot of money and some real action. And that is why this summit has been called today by the French President, the World Bank and the UN. It's all about trying to see if they can find ways that public and private money can be better used in the fight against climate change. And there have been some big announcements already. We have heard from the CEO of the World Bank saying that the World Bank is actually going to stop investing in certain gas and oil projects by 2019. Also, the world's biggest insurer, AXA, says that they will also downscale their assets in fossil fuels, and they will invest a lot more in green technology. So really, that's the private sector going forward there, really trying to do something different. In fact, it was interesting, the CEO of AXA said, if it continues in this way and we have a world where global warming reaches 4 degrees, the world will be simply uninsurable.
It's an important one for France, isn't it, Natasha? If I'm not mistaken, it was 2 years ago, almost to the day, that the Paris Climate Accord was signed. And even though the US pulled out, it is still the most supported such accord we've ever had.
Well, the fact that Donald Trump decided to pull the US out of the Paris Accord just 6 months ago is one of the main reasons that the French President Emmanuel Macron decided to hold this summit. The message really is, look, the US may not want to be in it, but the rest of the world is, and we are going to do what we can to try and fight climate change. In fact, the French President wants France and Europe really to be the leader in this sector, and that is why they have called this summit today. And there's no doubt the feeling here is in a way of a certain amount of defiance. You have many Americans here. They're just not high-ranking officials. In fact, John Kerry was here just a short while ago, former US Secretary of State. He said it was a disgrace that there was nobody of a high level from the US because so many people in America spent so long trying to work so hard in the fight against global warming. But there are many others here. They are here. They know they need to try and make up the financial shortfall left behind by the US pullout, and they say they are determined to do so.
Thank you, Natasha Butler, at the Climate Summit in Paris today.